Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss where we find ourselves on the map Simulacrum. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner, playing with the red Zerg drones. He's from South Korea, he's one of the strongest Zerg players in the world. We're looking inside of the main base of Rogue. And likewise, actually, I can do that same introduction for the most part for his opponent. Just change the word Zerg to Protoss. Playing here in the opposite corner with the blue Protoss pieces. We're looking inside of the main base of PartinG, who's considered to be one of the very strongest Protoss players that we have in SC2. So as of me making this video, PartinG is considered to be the rank 18 in the world. Throughout his career, he's earned roughly $400,000 in prize money alone. Compared to Rogue, who's currently considered to be the rank 6 in the world on Aligalek, and he has earned roughly $700,000. His biggest tournament victory by far was, of course, winning BlizzCon back in 2017, making him the world champion of SC2, but he certainly has showed no signs of slowing down. Now, I think this is going to be a fun clash of playstyles. Here's the thing. PartinG, very good at playing the macro game, but he is not afraid to mix it up. Now, he's already gone for the gateway on the other side of the map, so I don't think he's actually cheesing. But look at this. Rogue, who loves playing that very macro-focused playstyle, this is the drone of a man who's gotten cannon rushed by PartinG one too many times. I think going up against PartinG must be one of the hardest things in the world, because if you play a best-of-5 series against him, he is certainly going to cheese you once. Be it a cannon rush, or proxy gateway, or something really cheesy in general. While he's good at playing macro, he just simply likes mixing it up and going for weird strategies. Look at this. He keeps on pretending as if he's cannon rushing. I think Rogue right now figured it out, though. I mean, the Overlord is just about to make its way across. That one will confirm exactly what's going on. So you will see the cybernetics core finishing up here in just a little bit. Just a super standard macro-focused opener here from PartinG. But you can see he's being an absolute jerk right here with that probe. Steals a bunch of minerals, disrupts the mining for a little bit, tries to force these drones to go all over the base. But now with the spawning pool done, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna let that mining finish. I'm gonna grab myself some minerals, and then I'll probably be heading back home after seeing that third base coming up as well. So Rogue right now is gonna have a hard time scouting exactly what is happening in this game. Basically, all he knows at this point is that the warp gate upgrade started up. Now, recently, I've noticed a lot of Protoss players have really started going for that quick stalker, just like we see PartinG doing over here, to deny as much scouting as possible. Most of the time it's a Stargate opener at this point, but apparently in this game it will be that Twilight Council. And I like this actually done from Rogue. He decided to immediately go... Wait, hold up. Did he just... Ah, okay. Wait, I don't even know if he actually started up Zergling speed yet, but at the very least, he doesn't have it going right now. He's going straight up into the Pneumatized Carapace, so that's the Overlord speed upgrade. The third base is right now coming up as well. And while Rogue at this point is going to have a hard time figuring out exactly what is going on inside of that main base, once Overlord speed finishes, he's going to be in a good spot, but obviously, he won't have link speed done anytime soon. He's still actually only mining gas as well with just a single drone. So, how exactly is he going to defend against, like, say, 2 Adepts? Say 2 Adepts would move across the map right now. I guess it's just going to be Queens that will be tasked with the defense. A little bit of a greedy opener here from Rogue, but I kind of like it, because this way, he will be able to figure out exactly what it is that he's going up against, or at the very least, narrow it down quite a bit. So he sees the Twilight Council, he sees the Robo Facility, he sees 3 additional gateways coming up here as well. Well, actually, there's another one over here at the front as well. So that's going to be 5 gates right here in total. 5 gateways is an odd number, okay? Most of the time, say it's going to be like Dark Templar drops into Archons. Most of the time, if that's the case, you see only 4 gateways in total. So there will be 2 at the front and then 2 inside of that main base as well. So this immediately already indicates, at the very least to me, even though I'm not playing this game, that it would be something based off of that Twilight Council upgrade. He's just double checking right now because he knows he's going up against PartinG. PartinG started up an upgrade, but is he still researching it? Okay. There you go. I think PartinG is probably the type of guy as well who would go for the Glaives upgrade right as that Overlord flies in, only to cancel it after the Overlord leaves. But nope, it is indeed going to be a legitimate Glaive improvement. So, the Adepts are being warped in. They will basically have additional attack speed right now, meaning that they're really good at killing drones in particular. Not a lot of Roaches were made though. Link speed's still not done, so Roaches will be the main source of damage right now from Zerg. The Shade does get cancelled as these Adepts start working over at the third hatch. You can see they actually deal quite a bit of damage here. They're going to be just fine when it comes to killing Roaches as well. Once again, Forces the Shade towards the ramp, but cancels it at the last second. Couple more Adepts apparently have been warped in as well. Dark Shrine is coming up right here too for PartinG. All things considered, this is starting off as a very aggressive opener, but I don't really think that PartinG is going to be able to get too much done. And it's not like Zerg is really going to be able to achieve all too much here either. He got himself the Lair done, so at the very least he can get Overseers against like the Dark Templar follow-up. But I think for the most part, neither player is really going to be able to achieve that much. Unless PartinG decides to commit to a mineral line, but I mean, Rogue is not likely to take any damage. Yeah, once again, cancels it. Queens actually are on the lookout as well for any prisms that might be flying by. The DTs will probably be warped in from there in just a little bit. We just see the continuous shading, but no committal. There's no way. There's no way he's going to shade in on top of like, I don't know, like 10 or so roaches. A couple of them indeed do now die over at the third base. But during all of this, right, normally this would be a pretty great spot for the Zerg. During all of this, Zerg doesn't have that many workers. He's trying to squeeze in a couple here at a time. Apparently confident right now with the amount of roaches that he does have. Overseer actually moved on over to this location too, so I don't know if he knows that there's a Dark Shrine coming. Oh yeah, he actually scouted it, okay. Of course he scouted it, Lowko. These guys are very good. They can do multitasking, unlike you. They can do multiple things at once. Amazing. Okay, so yeah, Rogue knows that his opponent is likely going to be aggressive, but he's not going to be able to achieve that much until Roach Speed here finishes in just a little bit. Roach Speed right over here. He's getting himself the Evolution Chamber right now as well, getting Link Speed. Very easy upgrade to forget when you don't start it up early. The Dark Templar have been deflected just fine as well. And while this is all going on, ooh, you know what? He might actually commit. There we go. Finally looking for a small error, but the thing is, yeah, now you're stuck inside of the main base. A couple of drones have gone down so far. Maybe Adepts can get some damage done though in the natural. Yeah, there we go. After the glaive in, or after the shade in, rather, the glaives will attack very quickly. So that's 10 workers going down in the blink of an eye. Looks like for the most part though, these Adepts will be picked off as well. So now the counterattack is going to be a big issue. Roach Speed is done. Spire is coming up here as well. I think that Rogue is ready to lay down the pressure. Now that's where that Prism can be super helpful. If you would decide to send all of the roaches across right now, this could be a bit of a disaster, because then the third base is going to be in a lot of trouble. Luckily for Rogue, though, he decided to leave the Overseer over here, as well as a couple of roaches. Still, on this map, right, especially, it's super difficult to get a lot of damage done. Although, I do think Rogue actually could get a little bit more done than what he's got right now. Prism, apparently, I think it got recalled. There it is, back inside of the main base. I'm quite surprised that Rogue decided to not commit to trying to, at the very least, do a little bit of counter-attack damage. Especially after you kill a bunch of Adepts like that, usually Protoss is very vulnerable. Maybe it's due to the fact that he's playing on Simulacrum. So as you can see, Simulacrum, usually if you want to hit the third base, you go up on this ramp, or maybe on this ramp right over here. That's force fieldable, very easy to deal with, and usually then there's a couple of these big beefy boys, the Immortals, and maybe like a Sentry or something, right? To deal with all of your roaches. So I think he probably just gave PartinG the benefit of the doubt. Respect him enough to assume that he's good enough to get all of those units out. And yeah, he decided to not commit to the counterattack. Instead right now, from PartinG, it's going to be that Disruptor Ball follow-up. Prism will likely be dealt with here in a little bit, as 10 Mutas are on that production tab as well. Hydra then already coming up here for Rogue too, so I think he might be looking for the Lurker transition after the Mutas. So it's pretty clever because the Mutas kind of force out... Yeah, there it is, by the way. The Mutas kind of force out that Stalker-based force, and well, if there's one thing that Stalkers aren't very good against, it's of course those Lurkers. Anyways, PartinG does have a very scary force, though. Really not that much available here for the Zerg player. Couple of drones, once again, do get killed. That Prism, man. I feel like the Prism was countered like 5 minutes ago, but... well, it will finally be killed. It's still capable of getting a lot of damage done. Now, Mutas, they are really frustrating to deal with if you are a Protoss player. Most of the time, when I play Protoss and I go up against Mutas, I just tap out 2 minutes later because they're super painful if you misstep for even just a second, right? Stalkers will do in small numbers of Mutas, but sometimes we will see many more added on here as well. Eventually, you probably need Archons or maybe like, you know, High Templar with Storm, or, you know, if you open up Stargate with Phoenixes, but it's very difficult to actually properly deal with the Mutas, because as soon as you move out, the Mutas will move in. They're not very good in like straight up battles, so Mutas usually aren't used in like straight up battles, but just for harassment purposes. Now that's good. PartinG gets a couple of kills right there, pretty much for free. Hive is coming up here for Rogue. So like I was saying earlier, he did already make that Lurker Den. I don't think he really wants to stick around with Mutas. Most of the time what we see right now in the current meta is players going just for like one big group of Mutas and using them as like a stepping stone to buy time to go up towards other units that are good at like straight up engagements. And one of those obviously is the Lurker. So a lot of Lurkers are coming up. Fourth base actually has already been acquired as well, so Rogue actually is just using that for the gas mining, indicating to me at the very least he wants to go for a ton of Lurkers. Now I quite like this from PartinG. Most of the time, when you see players going up against Mutas, they will immediately make the assumption that it could be mass Muta. Stalkers, like I said, they're not very good against mass Muta. There's this weird dynamic between a Stalker and a Muta, where like in small numbers, Stalkers win, but since Mutas can like clump up really easily and Stalkers can't, sometimes you get into this really powerful like Muta-based army where you can just simply overwhelm all of the Stalkers. In this case though, PartinG recognized, okay, you know what, it is going to be a Lurker transition, it will probably only be a handful of Mutas, these are probably the only ones I need to deal with. If that's the case, I'm just going to go for some very long-range units as well. So he's going to go for those laser giraffes, the Colossi. He's getting the extended thermal lens as well, so that's very helpful. Makes these Colossi all the way up to 9 range. Lurkers, though, with the new balance patch, with the Seismic Spines upgrade, the one that's currently being researched inside of the Lurker Den, they do have 10 range now. So the default Lurker has 8 range, but when they get the Seismic Spines, they go all the way up to 10 range, which means they now outrange these Colossi. That's quite important, because I think PartinG probably wants to hit a timing attack before that upgrade finishes up, but those Mutas are keeping him properly busy, so I don't think he's really going to be able to achieve that. Nydus Worm also coming up here for Zerg. I wonder if PartinG maybe needs to, like... Did he already get himself the... No, he didn't. Okay, I was going to say, maybe he needs to get himself, like, the Templar Archive upgrade as well. Mutas are getting a little bit of work done, but honestly, it's not too... It's not too great. Yeah, once again, a few of them will be picked off. This is some of the weaker Mutas Aras that I've seen so far in the patch. Or maybe I should say, some of the better Muta defense that I've seen so far in the patch. A lot of people kind of freak out, but I guess if you already have Blink Stalker, it's not very common to have this. Well, at this point in the game, it's pretty common, but not when the Mutas first came out. It's not very common to have those, so maybe that made it a little bit easier there for PartinG as well. In the end, though, only 7 probes ended up going down in total. 2 Stalkers were killed as well. I would say that those Mutas really haven't paid for themselves yet, other than killing that Prism. Killing that Prism, obviously, was very nice, but I mean, 1 Muta would have sufficed at that point. Now, here's a funny little follow-up. So, I don't know what he wants to put in. Yeah, okay, I was looking for this. I didn't know what he wanted to put right there inside of the Nydus network, but the Nydus network is going up inside of the main base. PartinG cannot see this. Lurkers are set up right here at the front as well. They're phenomenal against that big Protoss army, but right now there's going to be Lurkers inside of that main base as well. Roaches are popping out too. Apparently this now forces PartinG to make a commitment on the other side of the map. A lot of Spore Crawlers were set up too to try and slow down the advancement right here of this Protoss army and to maybe snipe a couple of those observers so the Lurkers can get maximum damage done. So far, that hasn't really happened. PartinG is doing an excellent job just cleaning all of this up. At the same time, though, Lurkers have made their way towards the natural. Main base likely will fall here in just a little bit. PartinG, he's in a world of trouble. If he wants to go home, he needs to do so very quickly. Apparently, though, he's feeling confident that he can go home in time if he absolutely needs to. Keep in mind, he does have mass recall off cooldown. He wants to continue pushing right now. Lurkers do take a long time before they morph in. If he could actually kill the Nydus network, that would prevent those units from coming back home. Rogue, though, did apparently send a couple of them back home. Drones are pulled off the line as well. Colossi deal bonus damage against light, which is exactly what those drones are. So PartinG needs to be very cautious that he doesn't overextend, but he's killed a ton of workers here in the process as well. If you look inside of the main base, looks like actually the main base was defended reasonably well. Once again, though, a lot of Lurkers set up in that very dangerous position. There's 2 observers. Oh, yeah, they're both over here. So I think that PartinG probably has to go home. I mean, he can't see those Lurkers. He can't see those Lurkers, so I don't think he's going to be able to achieve all too much. Once again, though, as soon as Protoss leaves, well, guess what? I think that these units... Well, maybe they're going to unload somewhere else, but these units are going to be able to go inside of that Nydus Worm very efficiently. Actually, you know what? I thought he was unloading on the other side of the map, but that's not the case. Rogue apparently is going to need those defenses at home. So... You know what, right? Here's the recall, by the way. The units are finally coming home. How many units were actually killed there in total? Only 24 probes, 61 drones ended up going down. I was looking at this and I assumed that it was going to be an amazing fight there for Rogue, and it didn't seem like a bad one. Love the addition right now, actually, of the DTs as well. Really cool. But this is not that great, right? It's not been that amazing. Oh my god, those Colossi deal so much damage against the Hydras as well. A couple of additional units go down. I mean, as long as PartinG can save the natural, I'm feeling quite okay about this whole situation. Needs to be careful, though. He needs to run. That Nexus is running dangerously low, but this Lurker as well will be killed. And right now, if you take up inventory for a second, right? I'm liking this position for the Protoss player quite a bit. He ended up killing 1,000,001 workers. He lost a couple of probes as well, but I mean, Rogue, I mean, that was supposed to be his finishing move, right? That was supposed to be the move to end this game, and it didn't. Protoss right now is still stable on 4 bases. He could definitely even consider taking another Nexus here because, well, I don't think Rogue really wants to get aggressive right now. He doesn't have that much money to play with. Right now, though, since a bunch of observers were once again added back into the force, I think that PartinG wants to continue this aggression for a while longer. Maybe see if he can slow down that advancement of the Zerg back onto the map. But definitely a favorite position right now for the Protoss player. Really cool. Okay, so yeah, the Lurkers are scary though. Even just a couple of Lurkers, just seeing those spines coming out of the ground is really dangerous. Love the fact, by the way, that there's so many spore crawlers. If the spores kill the observers, Protoss has to go home. So that's the reason why so many spores are added on, just to snipe those observers. Target firing them down very good, and actually they can also hit Colossi. Ooh, going down that ramp though. Yeah, these Colossi, like I said, they deal bonus damage to light. Not only are drones light, Zerglings are as well, and so are Hydralisks. So Colossi actually pretty great against this army, even though they're not very good against the Lurkers. Oh, apparently, oh, do you want to fight here? One of those Colossi is running dangerously low, but 15, 23, and 22 kills here. A couple of Zealots, apparently. Without the charge upgrade, that one's still actually on that production tab right now. A couple of them are apparently making their way towards the natural of the Zerg player. Still actually getting a decent enough trade, but I think that PartinG is likely not going to be able to get too much done. This is what PartinG does, though. This is a very PartinG-esque move. If you look at all of the top-level Protoss players, they will usually not be out on the map like this. PartinG is doing this all the time, pretty much every single game. He's always out on the map, and he's always trying to, like, force you out of position. Now, on paper, this is great as well. One Dark Templar was already patrolling left and right. Apparently, that's going to be able to kill the Nydus Worm. But on paper, Zerg should not be going down here. But PartinG is still testing the waters constantly. He's really using that shield mechanic on all of those Protoss units, making sure that he, you know, snipes all of those units as well that are trying to put down those Nydus Worms. But he's making sure that he doesn't lose any army units while still triggering the regeneration of those shields constantly. Constantly? I don't know exactly what I said. I wanted to say continuously and constantly at the same time. Came out a little bit weirdly, I think. Anyways, Robo Bay is coming up. We now finally see the High Templar upgrade coming in as well. So that means that the Storm will be added here to that force in just a second. Yeah, whenever you give Stalkers of PartinG a chance to be out on the map, they will be. He loves being out on the map. Still though, Rogue is getting what I would consider a better army composition. Once Rogue maxes out, and Zerg can do so pretty quickly here, it's gonna be Hydra, Lurker, Viper, which I think is the ultimate unit composition right now. Once again, great scout there by PartinG. But I think Hydra, Lurker, Viper is far superior to the force that PartinG has got going right now. The thing is, yeah, Stalkers, they're good, but they kind of fall off as time goes by. You can't really play the late game with too many Stalkers in your unit composition, so most of the time we see Protoss transitioning towards Skytles. Now, there was already that Stargate. Okay, there it is. I was gonna say, like, he needs to get something going that's gonna allow a little bit more longevity in this army composition. Because, yeah, Storm is obviously amazing, but Rogue is also probably, like, either the best or like, one of the very best late-game players in the world. Rogue was one of the very few players that could actually deal with all of those maxed out turtle armies in the previous patch. That's actually the reason why he ended up winning BlizzCon back in the day as well. His late game was absolutely phenomenal and still is. So going up against like Rogue in the late game must be one of the hardest tasks in StarCraft 2. He's not gonna miss micro those Lurkers and Vipers. So I'm starting to get a little bit anxious here for PartinG, because he's giving this Zerg player a lot of wiggle room. Storm right now is done, so he can whoa. Whoa! I think he actually just accidentally misclicked there. Ay, ay, ay. I think that was the one with like 20-something kills. That is a shame. That's actually going to be very painful, because apparently this is the moment where Rogue wants to move out. Oh, it all comes down to the engagement and the positioning, though. I love the addition right here of an Oracle as well. Oracles with Revelation also now allow you to detect where those Lurkers are burrowed without needing the observers. Still, though, that is so many Lurkers! Yeah, Rogue has successfully figured out, okay, if you're going to stick around on a ground-based army, I'm just going to make more Lurkers. I'm just not going to have Hydras. How many Hydras does he have? 12. He's got 27 Lurkers and 4 of those Vipers, but he's got very few Hydralisks. Now, I like this. A couple of Dark Templar actually in the meantime also working. Big Storm on most of those Overseers. Once again, if he manages to get those Observers, that does make it much, much harder. Well, apparently there was a little bit of a pause here in the game. Still, though, this is not a good position right now for PartinG to be in. He doesn't have that Stargate transition. Now, this is a big engagement. Mothership is coming up as well. Lurkers are taking a lot of damage. They do have a lot of hit points as well, so Storms won't just be killing them outright like many of the other Zerg units. In the meantime, apparently, there's also a little bit of harassment over at the... oh my god, this is amazing, actually. Really good fight there for those Zealots, but... it looks like PartinG is gonna have to retreat to the upside of this ramp. He does still have Storm available. High Templar are still alive, which is very critical too. 16 additional drones end up falling, bringing the total of Rogue down to only 38. Now, I think PartinG has to stay on top of this ramp, though. He's getting very greedy with the way that he's maneuvering around this base, but you can't really go all too ham here. Very small, by the way. Very small, this Zerg economy. I think if PartinG holds on, he's going to be in a good spot, but he's getting very, very dangerously close to engaging these Lurkers, and it kind of feels like he wants to. Now, the Mothership is out. Okay, Mothership can obviously cloak all of those units, and it can also cast some very powerful spells on top of all of those Lurkers. Like, for example, the one that, the Time Warp, that is, the one that reduces their attack speed by 50%, which would be absolutely massive. Here we go, though. Oh, I love it. Blinding Cloud gets thrown over here as well. Storm goes down, but at the same time, the Colossi actually also get abducted. Lurkers, in the meantime, were busy apparently fighting one of these photon cannons, but the majority of that Protoss army is all of a sudden gone. PartinG still has a good army, though. He's got a good economy, much better than that of the Zerg. Lurkers just provide so much value, though. Is this, by the way, a Protoss game where not a single Immortal was made? Hold your horses. Can I have a quick look here? Wow, no, actually, never mind. For some reason, I didn't see a lot of those Immortals. I guess they're just so common that oh yeah, obviously we saw Immortals at the beginning of the game, never mind. We saw them when the Roach counterattack was imminent. I was gonna say, did he really not make any of those Immortals in the mid-game? I guess he made a bunch early on and then... you know, never really made the call to transition away from it. It's quite interesting, though, because pretty much all of the mid-game armies of Protoss are based around Archon Immortal Zealot. And in this case, it's very different, right? We've been seeing Stalker Colossus Zealot. And then eventually into Storm as well. On paper, it doesn't sound like a unit composition that's particularly great against Lurkers, but, well, it's been working out pretty well so far. Thing is, though, I'm starting to like this position for Zerg more and more. Protoss is starting to run out of money. You can see that, like, long-distance mining right now is apparently the way that he's getting his income. Rogue does not have a lot of mining in general either, but at the very least, he doesn't have to long-distance mine. Plus, I mean, yeah, he lost a lot of workers, but he still has a very, very potent army composition that can generate a lot of value. Kind of feels to me, other than, like, these High Templar and then also the Archons, that this army in general doesn't have as much value. Still, though, the Mothership actually at this point in the game is also pretty amazing. There's really not that much firepower in the Zerg army when it comes to anti-air. He doesn't have any Corruptors, doesn't have a lot of Hydras either. Ooh, these abducts, though, are phenomenal! He picks up both of the Archons, he gets the Colossus as well. Feedback does kill one of the High Templar. At the same time, the Mothership also gets abducted, but I've got a feeling there's not going to be enough to finish that one off. Roaches apparently right now are coming up here for the Zerg player again. That's always an awkward position to be in. A couple of units, though, did now get forced on over to morph into an Archon. and then, what's it called? Recalled towards the bottom left-hand corner. Still, though, I'm liking this position for Zerg a lot because there never was a Stargate transition. If there were like a couple of carriers, right, or even a couple of Tempests, I feel like this would have been such a good position right now for the Protoss player. Instead, he decided to stick around on this like mid-game unit composition for a while. Obviously, the addition of the mothership is great, but I've got a feeling it's not really gonna be enough. These lurkers just gain so much value. Like, lurkers are phenomenal in these smaller fights in particular. Apparently, right now, we do have that one Stargate unit trying to get as much done as possible. In the meantime, though, a lot of probes are dying there to those couple of Zerglings as well. This is one of the last mining bases here of the Protoss player. And despite PartinG having the economical advantage here for like the last, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, it is Rogue who obtains the victory just by straight up cost efficiency. PartinG decided to stick around on a mid-game unit composition against a late-game Zerg army. Now, I know that some of you will look at that late-game Zerg army and think, oh my god, Loko, but there weren't any Brute Lords! There weren't even any Ultralisks! Look, guys, both of those units are kind of garbage in comparison to the Lurker. They really don't have as much firepower as the Lurker. Especially Ultralisks, I mean, you don't really make them against Protoss. Brute Lords obviously do have their use, especially against that Archon Immortal Ball, but since that wasn't happening in this case, didn't make a lot of sense for Rogue to transition into that either. Love the addition of the Viper, which is the last of the 3 late-game units that Zerg really uses, and, well, it worked out really, really well there for him. I wonder, though, what would have happened here if PartinG decided to either, like, commit very aggressively to finishing off the game, or just simply sit back and transition towards that Skytol's army with Psionic Storm support. I think it probably would have worked out a little bit better for him, but I guess we will never know. For now, though, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright, and I will see you once again in the next one.